That's why I like to live. It's a blessing for me. Today you just be on me. Cause I'm having a wonderful day. Hey, hey. I'm having a wonderful day. That's why I like to live. It's a blessing for me. Today you just be on me. Cause I'm having a wonderful day. Hey, hey. Welcome, good people.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Walaikum salam, rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Welcome, viewers and listeners. Welcome to Peep Game TV presents live at 5 with me, your man SRD, and my main man 100 grand, Big Muzz.
Big Muzz. Assalamu alaikum, people.
And as usual, our mission, our method to the madness is to uplift humanity, beginning with one person, one family, one city, and one state at a time. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to both JY's Entertainment on YouTube and Peep Game TV on YouTube. All right, brother. So we left off, with the slavery thing.
Yeah, you was gonna comment about slave, talking about us black people. You feel me?
Yeah. Y'all black people, y'all crayon people.
Yeah, us black people. You feel me?
The crayons.
The crayon people, the crown.
Yeah, you crayon people. You colored people.
Yeah, the colored people, the colored folks, right?
Yeah. I mean, really, let's really look at slavery. Let's really look at the purpose behind it. Many of us, for many of years, have perpetuated slavery, and we connect ourselves to slavery, and we're not really looking at the method behind it, the reason behind it, and the psychological mishap or the psychological damage that unknowingly happens to us. Because here you have a people supposedly in the 1600s went all the way to Akebalon, which is the name of Africa prior to Africa, went there and took 1 million so-called Akebalonians, Moors or Moroccans or blacks, whichever one you want to call them, brought them here, 1 million of them, mind you. And you know that the way that they show us, the way that they supposedly had brought them was like a sardine can, where you had them stacked in a ship, one head, feet to head, 1 million of people, brought us here, and then got us, our ancestors, to do free labor for them. And you said something yesterday that reflects, to me, I think it reflects the mission of why they do it, why slavery is so important to be incorporated into so-called black culture. Because once you incorporate an atrocity, now anything other than that seems good. It seems acceptable. So when you talking about being raped, killed, hanged, and all of these things, and not being able to have any power over your life, now what's going on now seems like, man, this is great. This is gravy. We came a long way. And the reality is, even if it was slavery, they didn't go to Africa to get us. They utilized the Mississippi River, brought us from state to state, and many of our people at the time wouldn't have known the difference, because you're in a boat, they take you somewhere, And if you never traveled before, you think you're in a new land. I mean, you have individuals right now in the inner cities. If you take them out of the inner cities to somewhere else, you couldn't tell, and you blindfolded them, you couldn't tell them you didn't take them to another land. So what I'm saying is we have enough evidence about the colonizers or those who are recognized as the government to realize that they show, we see now with history things that we already know that was our descendants have been whitewashed. So if they whitewash that, why wouldn't they whitewash the whole slavery thing to set us up in a manner where, by setting us up to be comfortable with being dependent? And the whole thing about when I speak about black, it's not to be derogatory towards the people who identify as black. It's never to be derogatory towards the people that identify as black. It's to shine light on how a manipulation took place, and it came, and now media pushes black more so than ever. They pushes it in numerous ways, because for the government here, for America, it benefits America to keep the indigenous people blind to who they are. Because if you're blind to who you are, then, I mean, they don't ever have to worry about being dependent to us. That's the whole thing about it. It's about having documentation and being able to say, okay, based on the multilateral agreement that gave the ones formerly known as British rights to stay here, we had the same rights to be amongst them, but it was to govern ourselves. That's the whole thing about this whole situation. And that's why yesterday I used what I used. I said, name different people from different places and see what they have in common, and it's being governed by somebody other than themselves. But at the end of the day, you have other people who govern themselves. So at the end of the day, the people who acknowledge themselves as black were the most people who are being governed by other people. And forget citizenship, forget civil rights. We have a human right to govern ourselves, and it has nothing to do with not liking white people, wanting to be separate from white people. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with being in your right, the right aspect of your life as a human being, being sovereign. And notice this: whenever you have to go to court, what do it say when on the paperwork if you got to go to court? What do it say?
It say you versus the state or whatever
Right.
state you in.
Right. Now, how come only criminal aspects you got the state supporting you? Only in criminal cases. Nothing else do you ever had a state behind you except in criminal cases. Pigs. Pigs,
It,
pigs.
it depends on that depends on what we know is county charges and state charges. We know it's federal charges. So we know that. But before you get too far, let me
Go
let
ahead.
me let me say something.
Go ahead.
Like, one thing you be saying, like you be saying about us black people, you say, you know, they tie us to this, or it's a negative aspect. And when we call ourselves black, we're holding on to that chain, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You have Puerto Ricans that come to this country that went through the same thing. You have Cubans came through this country that they treated them the same way. You have Muslims that came to this country, Arabs, and they treated them the same way. They called them all kinds of names. They said they was terrorists. They treated them the same way. The only difference was they wasn't enslaved from a time ago because they migrating here now, but they still was part of slavery somewhere else. Then you got like the difference between them and us is my thing is before the Moors said Moor, they were called something else. Before they were called this, or you like you said, you made a statement said they named them Africa. They were called something else.
A Kibalon.
We all what we grew up on. We all recognize Nubian, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We knew about Nubian.
And when we recognized Nubian, we still added black to it. Nubian black princess, Nubian black kings, Nubian black sorcerers. We still immigrated the word black into that. Not to a description to say, but it is a description, but a description decides the describing a whole nother, it has a whole nother meaning behind it. Is it emotional? Do you tap into your emotionals when you say that? It's like I'm attached to it because it's attached in every country and every piece of land that's on this earth. It's attached to it. It's attached to it. What happens to us, brother, is we just like you see the Arabs, just like you see the Puerto Ricans, just like you see the Dominicans, just like you see every other nationality that went through, maybe not in this country that you can witness the slavery or the kidnapping in this country, but in their countries, they also went through harshful, struggling, enslaved situations. They stuck together. The key, the key. That's why when they go somewhere, they still identify themselves with who they are. When we go places, we don't identify ourselves for who we are. We change up. We allow them to change us up. You say they change us up, they give us another name. We allow that. We allow a lot of things to go into play. You
Okay.
think they'll make a law, right? And we allow that law to go in. Other people will fight against it. But we black people, your Moorish people, we don't do that. We don't fight against what's coming at us. Now, if you want to talk about fighting something in a system back up to the system, how we gonna fight if we keep separating our one group that identify and they can recognize themselves? Now we want to give them another entity. We want to give them another identification, which they're
Okay.
gonna go spur. They're gonna separate and spur
Okay.
against.
Let's look at it like this. Let's look at it. You made valid points. You named Puerto Rico. Who else? Who
Just
else
to
you
name
got?
a few that
Right.
we
Okay.
witnessed.
Puerto Rican, Cuban, and Arabs. Let's go. Let's go with the Puerto Rican, Cuban, Arabs. You say they come here, they go through struggles, right? All right. It's more than just them being, not having the background of being slaves. It's they have a state behind them, a country. They have a nationality that they're tied to. So even the Puerto Ricans, even if a Puerto Rican come here today, he could say,
Here you
yeah,
go, bro.
oh,
You
ho,
act
ho,
like
ho,
we don't
ho,
have a
ho,
country,
ho,
bro.
ho, ho, ho,
You act
ho,
like we don't have a continent.
ho, ho,
You just
ho,
hold it. This
listen,
what you're
listen,
saying. You
listen,
acting like we
listen.
don't have that.
Didn't I let you talk, out?
All right, go ahead.
Didn't I let you
But
talk?
you acting like we don't
This,
have that. I'm correcting you.
no,
We have that.
listen. Africa was made up as well as black. So you don't have that. So you can't depend on Africa.
Hold it, bro. Hold up,
What
bro.
is you
You
what are you
Africa,
saying?
hold it, bro.
And hold
Just
up,
when
hold up.
just because they colonize something, bro, that don't mean it ain't ours, Doc.
I'm
That
not
don't mean it
listen.
ain't ours.
And that's what I
Why you
agree
think they
with you.
trying to take it, bro? It is ours. It's
And
ours,
that
bro.
okay, and that's what I'm trying to say to you. That
It's ours.
this land is ours. This land is ours, but we can't claim it because we're not claiming our rightful identity. That's why we can't claim it. It's not the fact that it's not ours. Of course, all of those, remember, you're talking about a continent. All those people in a continent still tied to a state.
Bro, do you know the listen, bro? Do you know the people you talking about the Moorish people, right?
America's ours.
You talking about
But you
the
didn't.
Moorish
You hold
people,
up.
right?
You interrupted me in the mid of when I'm breaking down why I was saying what I was saying.
All right,
At
go
the
ahead,
end of
brother.
the day, you're saying it's a continent. At the end of the day, all those places you named, those are not continents. Those are countries. All of them come from a country. They don't call themselves a continent. And they got
What part of the continent are they at? Where they? What part is they? What part is they?
they're from what? Different parts of the country, but they acknowledge us. They got a state behind them. They got something behind them.
Okay,
Cuba,
they.
Cuba is Cubans. Puerto Rican is Puerto Ricans. What land is tied to black other than America?
Listen,
What land?
okay, listen. If we listen to that, then Moorish people in the beginning they wasn't Moors, huh? They were not called Moors. They wasn't Moors at all.
But do they have a
They
land?
only became Moors when they became Muslim. Remember, they wasn't Muslim. They became Muslim, then they became Moors, then they went to conquer Spain, right? Right?
It was in Spain
Okay, so
where they battled.
Before Spain, before Spain, they became Muslim. So they wasn't Muslim.
Okay.
They became Muslim, right?
Okay.
What were they before then?
That doesn't matter to me. That doesn't matter to me. You know why it doesn't? Hold up, and let me tell you
Bro,
why.
that doesn't you don't make sense, bro.
What you no?
How you gonna say that don't matter to you?
Hold up, because at the end of the day, what is your point is being what? What is your
My
point?
point is this,
You trying to say they was black?
you won't come off the
You saying they
tip
were black?
before they were more, before they called themselves more. What did they call themselves?
Nubians, like I told you.
What is Nubian?
Nubian is another word for that. But you
Nubian
don't
is
call
us.
yourself Nubian.
How do you describe Nubian?
Dark-skinned people, people of color, that type of thing.
Okay, so people, what color?
Okay, but where's Nubian land
What
at?
color?
You can see it's
Black,
it's
brown,
the
the
description
darkest
brown.
pigment of the skin, right?
It
Okay.
dark pigmentation.
Okay, so now
Or
they
you can
were a
say
part of those people in
or you
Asian
can
manner,
say
right? One
or you can
continent. They
listen
was a part of those people.
or you can say melanin or
Okay.
melanated
All right.
people.
Okay.
So
So
you can go description all for all. But
yeah,
my point, the point that you're missing, the point that you keep jumping over is regardless, Nubian. There's no land called Nubian. There's no land called black. At the end of the day, all those people you name are tied to a
there's no
land.
land called Moors.
It's Moroccan.
Moroccan is where? Where's
Morocco.
located?
In
Where's
Morocco.
located?
Morocco. Here. This is Morocco. This is Morocco. This is Morocco too. That's the part of the illusion of how they done played us and got us thinking, oh, we're in America. You know, we're sitting up here in America. Yeah, because what? We was naturalized.
Who
We
named
were
it Morocco,
adopted.
Aki? Who
Huh?
named it Morocco?
Why is it important
Hold on,
when
you
you got
just said they gave us
why
all those
hold up.
names. You
But
just said they named Puerto Rico, they
okay,
named Cuba. Who named it Morocco?
this is the thing. It ain't
Until you
America.
until
Wait
you can
up,
tell
man.
me that,
It's
don't make statements about somebody naming something because you don't even know who named the Morocco.
at the end of the day, what I do know is that at the end of the day, there's documentation that support Moroccan people, and there's no documentation that support black people. That's what
You
I know.
hold it. You just said black people is Moroccan people.
Okay, okay. Let's go like this. I say Jay Wise. Now, you go to the bank, you got a check, you sign Jay Wise, and if that name doesn't match the check, can you get any money? Regardless, you still Jay Wise, but unless you sign that correct name that's on that check, you're not going to get paid. You can't get that money. And that's the same thing with claiming the land here as Morocco by saying you black. You sign that down as black, you can't get paid. You can't get acknowledged. That's all I'm trying to say to the people. I'm not
So
trying to
so
say
so you're saying if I don't I'm saying
right,
what you're
right,
saying.
right. Go ahead.
We change over and call us for in doctrine, right? Documentation, because it's got to be documentation, right?
Right. This
You got to change over your documentation, saying you what?
more
Saying you
Moroccan,
what?
a Moroccan more, a
Saying
Moroccan
you a
more.
Moroccan Moor. You
Right,
change your documentation saying you a Moroccan Moor,
right,
right? So if I go and change my documentation saying I'm a Moroccan Moor, then
right.
what?
See, and unfortunately, it's not quite that simple. Why? Because there's still 43 states that has still not come under the banner
So
of
who do
Morocco.
you need for the 43 states?
You need a wazir, kazi.
Who
Uh,
those people gonna be? Who they
so
gonna be? What
well,
kind of
so
people you need?
so
You need
so
Cubans?
okay.
You need
I
Arabs?
mean,
Who do you
I mean,
need?
at the end of the day, we need competent people with melanin skin. With melanin skin.
So
Okay.
they don't gotta be
So
black people.
I mean, if no, they don't have to. If in the reality, if they got melanin skin, they don't have to claim black. But for the most part, there are people who claim black or identify as black that those are the ones that really don't have a land. When you really look at it, those are the ones, because even everybody you name that can identify as black, they still have a land. They still have a land, and they have a language. They still have that. The only ones that don't have a land and language
So
is
you
the
saying
American, the American
so
black
you
person.
saying you're saying you this is what you saying.
Go ahead.
When did Morocco come into existence? In what year? What century? When did they name it to be Morocco? Because they had
Probably
to
about the
name it.
seventh century.
They
Probably
had to
about the
name it
seventh.
that.
Probably about the seventh
Before
century.
it was
About the
that,
seventh century. Probably about the seventh century.
what part of land was it? Where is it located?
I mean, it was located. Canada was a part of Morocco. Haiti was a part of Morocco.
Oh, okay, so this is the colonizers. Before they separated and colonized it, what was it a part of? It had to
I
be one
mean,
continent.
for for
You
for
can't
me,
separate something unless
oh,
it's one
I
whole.
don't know. You tell me. You tell me that.
It was the
You
land
tell
they call Africa, which is Asia Minor, bro.
Asia man.
That's right.
Okay. All right.
So that's all our land. So when they colonized and they separated and they start tagging stuff, it's still our people. It's still the Nubian people who
I'm
identify right now today as being black people.
you keep missing the
Now,
point.
hold it. Now,
Go ahead.
that doesn't tie me into what America is doing or saying. And if I want to be a part of, to go back and say, yeah, this is the Moorish black, this is black Moorish people, or they made this movement when the black Moorish soldiers, when they left Africa, right? And when they left Africa, when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when Islam was being turned around and he sent it out there, and they became Muslim, they became Muslim. And when they took on the Muslim and they started to explore, and they went out to explore, right? And they started witnessing, right, what was out there, right?
Go
They
ahead.
still were black. Me being Muslim don't stop me from being or identify, or when you see me as saying black, you're not gonna look me and say you are more. You're not gonna, because you just said these we here. You go, not the people over there. So you trying to tell me that the people, hold it, you trying to say that the people in Africa
What
that
did I
says I'm
just
an
say to you?
African,
Hold up, hold up.
I'm you
No,
trying
no.
to say
Now
the
you
people in
twisting. Now you
Africa,
twist. Now you twisting what I said. Because if I said to you that the people in Cuba and the people in Haiti, why wouldn't I say the people in Africa was too? I just didn't mention that. I just named a few places. I'm not. I told you if if Morocco is in Africa, that right there would be common sense to say that okay, they're Moors too. And we talked about that yesterday. You keep avoiding the main point of at the end of the day, black people in America don't have a land that they tied to other than America. You could say, oh, we connected to all of them. Sure, we're connected to all of them. But the difference is when they come here from a land with the identity, and then they do work along with that identity. And when they come to us, we got to say, well, I'm black, I'm African American.
okay,
You know what
bro.
I'm saying?
I know some Muslim brothers that went to Africa, that went back over to Arabia, Africa, Asia Manor,
Right.
and got their citizenship and moved away and
I'll
moved
keep it
over there
on. Yeah.
and
Right.
moved over there and be like, and they living good. They like, yo, I'm in Africa, bro. You gotta boom. They show you pictures and everything,
Right.
and they living over there. So what? Why? What do you mean we ain't tied to it? You could go back to Africa, bro.
This
That's your
and
land.
this is
That's your
this is
land. That's your
this is
that's
not.
your roots.
Hold up. This is that part is not what I'm talking about. What
But
I'm
hold on,
talking.
you just said we're not tied. Listen to
No,
what you
I
be
didn't say
saying.
we wasn't. I didn't. Hold up.
You
I
said
said
we ain't
we.
tied
Hold
to a
up. Hold
land,
up.
bro.
Listen.
You said we don't
Listen.
have a land. That's what you
Listen.
just
You
said.
listen. At
You
the
said
end of the
everybody else
day,
got a place except
you
us.
listen.
We can't
You
go
wasn't
nothing.
born there. You
What?
wasn't born there. You
Bro, it
wasn't
don't
born there. So,
matter.
so the reality is this.
What you talking about? That's like saying you was born in you that's like saying if I'm born in New York, right? I'm a certain breed, but I can't be that breed because I was born in New York and not New Jersey. So you saying I can't be I can't have no roots, or my roots and my foundation ain't in this country because I was born in America, because I was enslaved to be born here, didn't have a free choice to be born here, but was
See,
captured
and
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 tied
and,
down
and
here.
that's
So you
that's why
so
that's
you want
that's
to
that
say,
slave mentality Malcolm X was talking about. That slave mentality of you so caught up in you was a slave, you was brought here, you're forgetting that people were already here. We
so
were
even if
already
they
here
was
prior to
already
that.
here, bro, even if
Okay.
they're already here, we still was captured against our will and made to do what we ain't want to do, bro.
Listen, you buying into the colonized story.
So you
And
telling
dude,
me
come
they ain't
on.
come over, they ain't come
Like you
over here
just
and
said,
execute
listen,
everybody? They ain't
listen what you
execute them?
listen
Did
what
they
you just said.
execute them, bro?
Listen what you just said. You said when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when people became Muslim, they traveled. You think those people didn't travel here? You think they
I
wasn't
said they came
intelligent
here,
enough to
bro.
travel here?
Just like they went to Spain, they came here. I said
Okay.
that, bro.
All right. So why is you talking about they had to come? You was brought here by force. No, you wasn't brought here by
Bro,
force.
listen. We listen, they system, whether you was brought from town to town, state to state, or however. Those people was here, those evil people conquered them, took over.
You
Period.
know,
And
and
then
I'm
and
trying to
then and then they made a system, a system that you had to abide by, right? A system that you fighting for now because you in it and can't do nothing about it. And you saying we got to get away from the system. Because if not, I gotta apply to it because I'm here. I'm here.
There you go.
All right then. So therefore, like I said, it wasn't my choice. I was born here. You still hold it, and they still migrated and still got people. Some of our people even sold some of our people because we know that they can't go over there and conquer a whole lot of people and take them. But hold it, it's not just America, bro. Many Portuguese, many people traveled to that part of the continent and stole a lot of us, bro. And stole a
So,
lot of us, man.
so, but you still missing the point. You still holding on to certain things that at this point, what you said was important. They put together a system that basically enslaved us, that put us dependent. Colonization is being able to, somebody else is in power and they usurp their power over another area or another people. In this case, the people are us. Now, sure, you can go to Africa. I never said you couldn't go to Africa. You couldn't go to London. You couldn't go to France, this, that, the other. However, even after you go, you still come back here as an American, and that's the thing that we can rectify. Why do you think all these years people was fighting for reparations and weren't able to get it? Why do you think that? The reason why, because
I think because the
reparations,
teacher, I think because the approach is, I think the approach is wrong to the people.
you
That's
know
just
what,
like your approach. Just like it's not the fact that if we're disagreeing whether your knowledge is right or not exact, right and exact or not. I'm not agreeing with that. I disagree with when it comes to us and you saying we holding on to uh being black or
I
being
mean,
called black.
listen. At the end of the day, that's one of the least important aspects of what we're talking about.
So then
That's
why
the
we
least
so
important
then if that's the
because
point,
no,
then
because
why it bothers you if we call ourselves black then?
it doesn't bother me. What bothers me is the fact that here it is, some information that says, look, here what you got to acknowledge yourself as so that you all could build states and be independent of America. However, when you do that, you have to acknowledge yourself as this particular individual for the sake of doing that.
You
For the
still
sake of
black
doing
though.
that. Huh?
You still black though.
I don't care if you want to call
Oh,
yourself black
but this
after
is the
that,
point. This
you
is
can
what I was
still do
telling you the
that.
other day. I'm
You can
like, just
still do
because
that.
I'm Muslim don't stop me from being black, bro.
Listen,
So that's the same
listen.
thing. Just because if
Okay,
I say I identify myself as a Moor, you're gonna say, oh, because it's different Moors. It's different shades of
it's
Moors.
American
You got
Moors.
you got light. No, I'm talking about in pigment of skin. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
There
isn't
are white
it?
Moors,
What
right?
about? But what about black people?
But
Ain't it
this
different? Ain't it
hold it.
different? Ain't it
But this is
different?
what I'm listen to what I'm saying to you. I'm saying if I say well I'm yeah I'm Moorish, I'm a black Moor. What's the problem?
It's the same thing as saying you're American Moor.
No,
It's
it's
the same
not.
principle. Yes,
No,
it
it's
is.
not. If
What,
I
you know why?
so you telling me
Listen. You know, listen.
if I change my documentation over and got documentation saying I'm a Moor, right? And you saying under this I'm protected under this treaty and in this land, and I say yeah I'm a black Moor. Now that takes me somewhere
You
else
can
because I said
say
I'm
that.
black.
You can say it if you want to say it, but you
No,
can't write. You can't.
I ain't
You.
saying write it.
Oh yeah,
I
you can
said
say
no.
yeah.
We
Yeah, you
we
can
ain't
say it
we
if you want to say it. Yeah.
okay then. This is what I'm saying, bro.
Hey, I mean, this why I was saying to you, you people call themselves many things. I mean, you got Jay-Z, but when he signed checks, he's Sean Carter. So we already know that you can call yourself whatever you want. But when it comes to legal documentation, you have to adhere to certain guidelines in order to be rewarded or being able to be recognized. So that's all I'm saying. I wasn't ever trying to say if just if you don't if you're comfortable with being black and you want to say after you sign and you be a part of helping build the other 43 states and putting laws together, and you feel comfortable enough to say that, if you want to write it in the laws, maybe you can. You know what I'm saying? This is the beauty about being able to rebuild from the ground up instead of trying to infiltrate something that hasn't been able to be infiltrated in over 200 and something years. So if that's that important, look, when you put your state constitution together, put that in there if it means that much to you. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we're not talking domestic, we're talking national now. We're talking not just American, we're talking about being able to maneuver around the world as a legal identity. Black, yeah, people recognize black, but the reality is it a legal identity? It's not a legal identity because people don't sign. America had people saying black, African American, Asian, Hispanic, all this. America had all of that going on. And remember, the best trick is to have people believing that they don't, that America doesn't like us because the color of our skin. But America is afraid that once we wake up, now we're able to claim the land that they are really visitors in. And that's a part of when they run the slave thing on you. They run the slave thing on you so that you can feel like, oh, they brought me here, so they're not a visitor. No, they were a visitor. We were the ones who, our ancestors were here first, so the land belongs to us. And once you go to the bilateral treatment, there can only be one sovereign. America knows that. America knows there can only be one sovereign, and they know also that once the so-called black people say, okay, I'm a Moor, but I'm black too. You know what I mean? But I realize the importance of me being a Moor for future generations. I realize the importance of that. So I'm not trying to, hold back the progress of a nation of people, because I know that internationally, when it comes to legal documentation, there's no land called black. There's no land. All those people, like I said, all those people you name, they all tied to a land.
So this is what I'm getting from this. I'm summarizing this up like this. This is what I'm getting from you. You know, I'm getting to I'm viewing it on, I'm viewing it in a resistant part. So I'm viewing it like, what you talking about. So if I go, what you talking about? I'll be wanting to. This is what I'll be wanting to know. You got to explain to me how it came to that. I want to be tied in, not right here from one part. Show me my foundation, how they became that. Why are they Muslim? Then who when they became Muslim under when they became Muslim under that flag of Islam, what happened then? How it came to that? When we address a group like we have, a group of people that have been through so much, they've been through a lot. They've been beaten down a lot mentally. We had a lot of movements, and we still have a lot of movements. And there's a lot of brothers trying to bring a lot of movement to a group of black people that identifies themselves as black all over the world and trying to unite them. That's the only thing that holds us really in unison. That's it. Because everything else has a title, everything else has a name and a title which separate us. That's all we know that ties us to it. Yeah, you got the internet now. You got knowledge that come across the internet. Like you came across this knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So now you have the internet where you come across the knowledge and it's being presented to you. But still, you still have the majority of people. You got to bring them in and let them know how to make that transition towards something that's going to benefit them in a country that they're in, that they feel like they're going to be in, so they could be a part of in this country, but as a dominant factor in the country legally. You know what I'm saying? How do we bring them across legally? We can't just be like that. Because I'm going on a resistance. We're not hearing, and you do your research or whatever people gonna do or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's confusing. It's very confusing. We move at a certain pace right now.
Okay.
We
Now,
moving at a fast pace right now. When people hit, because you got so much information on the internet. You got so much information on the internet. So now, if you're gonna start hitting and be like, yo, the Moors are here, they had this treaty, they came from here, which was tied into here. These are people that made this move and they prepared this for us. We ain't inheriting what they gave us. We're not taking that inheritance because they separated it because of how it's named. And they demolished the name and they pushed it in the back. They pushed that name in the back. And this name is dominant, but this name is, these are the people of that. You can't separate and say, because we're black, that's what's keeping us away from it. Because you need the black to attach to it. No, this is what your people set you for. They made this for you. This is your inheritance of this country. This is your documentation that will change you and your kid. This is generation wealth right here. This piece of paper right here for the black people because they started right here. So all these people, this is what you're entitled to. We have to have that trail because a lot of us we gotta connect the dots, and it's a lot of so much knowledge out there, and everybody's describing it different. Some people describe it ancient. Some people be like, yeah,
peace,
it's the
peace,
more. Some
peace,
people describe
CH,
it as
peace.
we Africans or we Nubians. We all describing of our naming the description of a people, which we all is all black people. We entitled to that. So if you saying we entitled to that, it's inherited to that. This is the language that we got to say. Yo, your ancestors made a movement. They migrated from one land to the other. They was in this state. They came out of that state. They went into this state. They went into Spain and they conquered it. And this was when they became Islamic, they became Moorish people. After that, they went on to conquer. So they was the first ones in America. They came first. They was there first. I know a little bit, but I don't know it all. So I still gotta do some research. But how do we connect it? So I'm going like this. We connect it because it's ours. It's ours. You
Right.
could say it's from Morocco and it's the Moors. It's black people's. It's ours. Because at one time the Moors became Moors, but even though they're Moors and you identify that, we could all say in description we identify as black. So
Right.
if we identifying as black, that's our people. They were also black, and they used to call them Black Moorish, right?
They call them blackamoors.
Blackmores, right. But
Blackamoors.
they
Right.
don't
They was
want them.
called
See, the
blackamoors.
thing is this. They don't want them to be tied to black. They want to keep them separated.
Yeah,
They don't want the
blackamoors.
blacks
Right.
to know that they are that. Those are our roots because that's our generation of wealth right there. That's our claim. So
Right.
as we born in our offsprings and we got the offsprings coming up, now it's like, yo, let me get the documentation and my son and my daughter, they're gonna be born. I'm changing the documentation when they born.
Right.
So now we're
Yeah.
born in and we migrating that into
To
the
the
treaty
Empire of
of war.
Morocco.
We tying them in. So now we getting them those numbers. Now we getting that popularity. Now we're being recognized. We're being born into that instead of being born into America and gotta drop that. But we gotta know that no, those are our people. Those are black people that went and conquered that for you. They did that for you. You're entitled to that. And this is what they don't want you to know. And this is why I say, because as a group and as a minority of a majority of people all around the world, you know the effect of that when
Right.
it doesn't matter if you in Brazil or you Dominican or
Absolutely.
anything. Nah, this is all of us. So now we see more equality and more power that's only being ran through a small group of people that's controlling us being stingy and saying you ain't entitled to that because you're this and you're that and you're
Eh,
this and you're that. But the only thing that connects us all when you see us, because when you see a person and he of dark pigment skin, you don't go, he Brazilian, he Cuban, he Dominican, or he Haitian. You go, they black. That's
right,
what you identify. So
right.
we all link. So we have
So
to link.
now,
We have
I
to
get
link
that
that.
part.
We
I
have to
get that
link
part.
that together, and then tell them the history about those black men that left that continent and went around the world and became Muslim under that regime at that time, under that flag, and became Muslim and went and conquered Spain, right? And went and sold out to the other parts of the land and claimed it
Yeah,
and claimed it.
yeah,
Then and then look, now we show them how we're tied to that, how we entitled to that. That's an inheritance. So it's like telling the
absolutely.
people like, what you don't
You
want to
have
collect your
inheritance,
inheritance?
right? That's your
This belongs to
inheritance.
black
Absolutely,
people. See, because if
absolutely.
we unify us as black people and identify as black people, they can't touch that because that's all the way around the world. See, when you go, we American and they know they Haitian and they like this, they Jamaican and they did, that's separation. But when you look at them and you say, no, this is for all the black people in the world. Now we identify and go, America is all of ours. It's all of ours.
Right. This the whole world. We are the first people in the world. We were the first
We
people.
know that,
So
correct?
so many of us know that. So at the end of the day, it's like right here, it's like, okay, if we're the parents, then who ruling right now? Who's governing us? Our children. Our children are governing us. And why things are so chaotic? Why things are so off balance? Because the children are running the household. And it's time for the parents to get the house back. It's time for
Exactly.
the parents to
I
take the house
agree with you.
back.
I agree with you.
So if that's how we have to do it, I'm cool with it. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, the goal is to get the house back and be able to, you know,
See,
make the move.
a lot of us, the way we identify and how we're trained and how we come up to maneuver in America and to survive and to be successful in America, whatever, we don't know that inheritance exists. So all of our efforts go into their inheritance. We trying to get their inheritance. We trying to get a piece of their inheritance.
Well, they don't have an inheritance. What we're striving to get back is what's rightfully ours,
Right.
but we don't know it's rightfully ours. So
This is what I'm
so so
saying.
so it's
So
like it,
we after what they present to us. What they present to us is success through this, go through that, and you get this. I ain't talking about inheritance as they giving something to us because it's already given to us by our ancestors. It's
right. It's
already there.
already ours. It's
But
already
we're
ours.
chasing an inheritance that we can never catch or we can never get because they're never going to give it to us. You understand what I'm saying? They're
Right.
never going to give us education properly. They're never going to give us justice, equality. They're never going to give us that. They're never going to give us the knowledge. They're never going to let us to be understanding. They ain't going to do none of that. So in order to keep their system going, they have to keep us separated. They have to separate us because the reason this is why at the time of Malcolm X, Ali Shabazz, right, when he changed his name,
Al Malik Shabazz.
yeah, at the time he went from he started dealing with human rights, humanity, right?
There you go. Human rights.
Not only because of the other states, right, but because the connection all the way around the world. And at that time, a lot of other people in a lot of places wouldn't identify themselves as what? Black. They wouldn't identify themselves as black.
Right. Right.
Now, today, in all the stress and all the mayhem, people identify themselves as black, but They keep themselves separate and say, I'm from this country though. I'm from here. I'm from here. I remember at time, I think you said it. If reparations was given out to the black people, you know how many black people, you know how many people would stand up and say, I'm black now?
Right,
Okay?
exactly.
Because they know that's the reality. But they keep themselves separate because it's like this. All white people don't agree with a lot of things. But because of that privilege, they won't say nothing because they're getting privilege. And this is how a lot of black people is in different areas, in different cities, in different states, in the same country, and in different other countries. Because of the privilege they want, they disconnect themselves. Not totally, but just to identify myself as this. And that don't mean I'm in a state because it's like your family, bro, right? You got family. You got family that do all kinds of stuff. It's still your family.
Right.
You understand? You can't disconnect your bloodline and go, we ain't family no more. It's still your family. You might don't claim them, still your family. And that's like with us. So if we have a heritage that we're entitled to, that's how we got to address the people. This inheritance is for the black people. When we say that, you see a lot of people stepping up and say, if it's reparations, I'm black, I'm black, I'm black. In order to get them on the same accord, we have to let them know what they're entitled to as being black people, not as being something else. That names that change us is also things that separate us. But that's why I didn't want to get into the wordplay. You know what I'm saying? And another thing I believe in, I do believe in speak the speech that people can relate to, and then teach them a language that they can learn. Because if you don't speak the speech that they can learn to, they how do we get manipulated? They come and learn our language.
Well,
They
I
come
mean,
in the
let's
hood
think.
and
Let's.
they learn our language,
But
and then they put it in advertising. They put it in shows. They put it in TV. They learn our language, and then they redo it and they throw it back at us.
well,
So
I
we
mean,
know
let's
we
look at how they do it. Really, how they've done it is they basically used us to manipulate us. That's basically that, starting with telling us, we didn't have rights to this land. Starting with that, and went by being naturalized, having different names other than, as Moors, you would have, it would be four names. I think it's El, Bay, um, Day, and Ali. So we would be able to know who each other is just by our last names. You know what I'm saying? So by naming us Johnson, Hill, Brown, all of that began the separation. So they put all that in motion prior. So remember, America has had 200 and something years to a head start. Remember, it's not that we didn't have a government, it's that the seats to our government are empty. Our seats are empty because we don't have no one to claim it. Nobody's claiming it because many of us have been Americanized, and we feel comfortable being American, and really don't want to leave America. And many of us would rather get into the politics of America rather than to reestablish our own government. It's not like it don't exist. Where do you think they got the idea from? They got the idea from us. So once they got the idea, they put it together. They had the Sultan to sign it. The Sultan signed the treaty. The first treaty that they signed with them was in 1786. So once that treaty was signed, they were able to pull themselves away from the British. Now America was its own state. So this is the thing that I'm trying to get us to understand, that there's a proper way of doing it that will be able to get our inheritance back, because it's like we've been adopted. We got adopted, and when we got adopted, they changed our name. They gave us a different name, so our family couldn't find us because our names were changed, and we kept going by that name, so we couldn't find each other. So we was lost. So now that we discovered our true name, now it's like it's almost it's a resistance of, I don't really want to let that go. And if you don't want to let it go, it's just a point of, if we got to, if that's the call got to go out because people are that comfortable with it. I don't want the friction, because we don't have enough time for friction. We got generations dying, generations lost. So at the end of the day, we don't have enough time to be fighting over semantics of names. But at the end of the day, it's about, look, there's legal documentation that supports what I'm saying. I'm not saying nothing that a person couldn't go up that's watching this.
There's legal documentation for black people to claim their own government in the United States of America, right? Right?
I missed what he said. I mean,
CH said they killed everything
but
positive. Reconstruction,
it's
Black Wall
because,
Street,
huh?
Malcolm,
What?
Martin, and Fred.
What did he say?
The America goes out and destroys everything and take it from us, buries it. You know what I'm saying? The powerful leaders to bring the people together, they go out and they destroy them. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? We was in
right.
powerful positions. We had our own Wall Street. You know how they did New York. They put the daggone park over that. They smothered that. You feel me? They took that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
Seneca Village. That was Seneca Village.
so it's like so now how they did this history to black people. Black people has ties that they identified it as another name, but it's related. It's for all the black people in America.
Right.
It's for all the black people in America.
It's for the black people. I want to get it correct, because I want people to really understand the importance of it, having black and being able to put your constitution together as Moroccan Moor. You know what I mean? Because it's going to be recognized by the United Nations as being a Moroccan Moor. It's not going to be the United Nations is not going to recognize it, because the documentation is already written. So we can come together as black people to reclaim our true identity. And now, once we claim our true identity, we get the opportunity to reestablish our own government within our own land that we have been tricked to thinking it was somebody else's land, and that we were brought here by force, when many of our people were here prior to Columbus even coming here, prior to America even becoming America. Many of our people were here. So that's what we need to understand.
So our movement,
Our,
our
our
platform,
cultural revolution. It's a cultural revolution.
our platform is to say this is what I want to. This is what I want to say. I'm wording it. This is how I'm wording it.
Go
All
ahead.
right. So don't go bananas.
Go ahead,
Don't
bro.
go bananas, bro, because
Go
I'm just
ahead,
wording
man.
it, bro.
Go
You know what I'm
ahead.
saying?
Go ahead. We're
I'm
working
glad
on
you
it,
all the
man.
way
We're
up there,
working
bro,
on it.
because you about to like, yeah, nigga,
We're
what?
working on it for the people, man. We're working on it. We're working on it. We got to give it to them. Go ahead.
So what I'm saying is there is an existence, not for just say Moors, have a documentation for governing already that's in existence its own government of people. Those people that is Moors, we are the descendant of those people
Yeah.
that's being identified in America as black and in the rest of part of the world as black people.
Right.
That documentation is ours. What we have to do is don't go in the other direction of claiming your roots, but go in this direction that has the documentation that will peel that black to identify and take on the treaty which identifies us as a people of Moors,
Right.
right?
Right.
That separate us because we think it's somebody else and we ain't acknowledging that that's our people established that for us. So they
Absolutely.
hiding that.
They
They're
left it
hiding that
for us.
from us,
Right.
and they don't want you to know that you're entitled to it. So my thing is that's why we have to say the black people are entitled to that.
Okay.
Now,
All right.
because let me tell you, and why that's so important. It's just like
Go
if you
ahead.
want your
We out of time, but go ahead and finish your
if you
statement.
want your if you want your respirations or whatever from the United States, that's it. Because now we have knowledgeable people from all across the world in government and in different aspects, professions and everything else
Yeah.
that can identify with us as being black, that can contribute to such a movement like that, that you need to be in office, you need in politics, you need to write
Yeah.
laws, you need them to have knowledge and everything else.
Absolutely.
And so this has to be tied into the group of people that's identifying themselves as black. They're entitled to this that exists already. So now we got to start moving to explain this and get the and
And
get the
start bringing the
format
documentation so they yeah.
and get the format and show them the conditions and what entails this. Now we got to start teaching what levels and what entails this and what it is. Because a lot of us we so blind, deaf, and dumb and stupid, we don't run to the positive things. And when it's a struggle, we give up because we want the fast thing. We already settled. But this is not for everybody here, but it's for the rest of the babies.
Right.
That's what we
Absolutely.
got to start realizing. If we
Yeah,
want to
that's what
change
it's
the
for.
streets, if we want to change the streets, so called, and you want this to stop and so called that, then nigga, get your own goddamn government that you said exists. I agree with that.
There you go.
So it
Yeah.
takes our black people to make this transition.
Right,
So we
right.
gotta,
Right.
we gotta get that bridge
Yeah,
going.
yeah, yeah. We got to get the
You know what I'm saying?
presentation right, but yeah,
We
that's
got
good stuff because at the end of the day, we might as well start printing out some stuff. I'm start bringing some stuff because we got treaties. We got 1902 Act of Algeciras, you know, 1880 Treaty of Madrid. We
see.
got
Look, I just want to say this, man. I gotta say that I know we could get running out of time, but I just want to say this for the listeners that y'all listening. If you could go and check out all that gossip that's going on the internet and everything that's going on, and you can be attentive to it, and it's entertaining to you. And I know everybody likes entertaining, and that's what we thrive on. But also spend some other time in doing your research to see what's going on with you as a people, as a human being, what's happening to you as a human being, and how can you make a difference to that, and how you could change that. So start equaling out your balance. Get entertained, laugh a little bit, live life a little bit, and at the same time, make something different for the ones that's coming up after you and for yourself. So start doing your research on who the hell you is and what's belonged to you and what you should do about it. And get with the group of people that's going in that direction to make a difference
absolutely.
today for tomorrow. That's all I got to say. You know what I'm saying?
All right,
Little cook bar right there.
we out to
Little
the
cook
next
bar right
day.
there.
We out till what? Monday. We out till Monday,
Inshallah.
people.
Yeah, I had to
We
throw a little
we
cook bar there. Yeah, that
inshallah
was for Quap.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We appreciate you guys from sticking with us. Invite other people. Look, this is information that's to uplift humanity. Until next week, I wish you and your families love, peace, and happiness.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.